Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide. In today's video, I'm going to be checking out the Boox magnetic keyboard cover, yes, yet again, but this time with hopefully a solution for one of its design problems, which basically makes it a no-go for me and I know for some users as well. So the idea of the video is to explore a very easy and hopefully non-invasive kind of way of fixing it, because there's like two methods that I might try, but I'm going to try with the simple one and then see if we can get away with that, and do prefix and postfix measurements to see how the fix actually performs, what it does well, what it does badly. If you like the work that I do and you would like to support that independence and work, you can head on over to mydeepguide.com/shop, where you can find high quality e-paper and template products for your e-paper devices. MDO, or My Daily Organizer, is a workbook to help you organize all of your personal or professional yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily needs. And it is a completely interlinked workbook, making it an extremely powerful addition to any of your e-paper devices. MMP, or My Deep Guide Meeting Planner, is also a hyperlinked workbook focused on helping you simplify, centralize, and organize all of your meeting planning needs, allowing you seamless navigation between different meetings from the meeting index page, and with each meeting having the ability to have individual agenda and notes. You can also find My Deep Guide Curated Templates, which is a collection of very carefully crafted notebook templates. What makes MDG Curated Templates different, all of them are pixel perfect for the device screen size that you are using them on. This is why there are so many different variations, so that you can choose the one that fits your device perfectly. These templates also maintain a universal 8mm line spacing standard and 4mm grid spacing standard. Purchasing any of these products will enhance your productivity and simplify your organization. You also directly support independence of My Deep Guide. Alright, so here I have my own personal Boox Note Max, a device that I love and cherish and is my main daily driver. Hush, you printer, you! And on the left hand side here is the Boox magnetic cover, and I have already made several videos on this, and for those who haven't really seen it, this as a keyboard cover, it's a cover that works as a keyboard, and you're supposed to use it by simply slotting the device like this and setting this down on top of your device. And while this whole thing as a concept and as a cover, it's okay, but it has a fatal flaw as a design that's an absolute deal breaker for me. And for those who don't know, I'm just gonna shortly cover what that is. This area here, this is in direct constant contact with the screen of your device, the glass screen of your device, when the cover is in a closed state. And there's a couple of issues. The second issue, yes, I'm starting from behind, there are no spacers or anti-skid added elements like a rubber foot or anything like that, or a silicone thing that will have a dual role. First role is to create a little bit of a distance between the keys themselves and the plastic here from the screen, so that all of this is not in direct contact with the screen. And the second role is to prevent the skidding around, which is something that this cover most definitely suffers from, which I shall show you now. And this thing, it's just slipping all over the place. However, that's a minor issue compared to the number one issue, which is the deal breaker, and that's these two pins here. These two pins, the role is that they hold the device in place, because the device on the side has two holes. It slots in, holds at an angle. Hey presto, we got two pins and they're holding them there. As a concept, not really a problem. What's the problem? Well, the problem is this. I get a ruler, which is straight, and I put it down on the surface here and go carefully up to the pin, and I can't go further. The pin from both sides, and both of the pins from both sides, are the highest point of contact on this surface, which means that the main point of contact with the glass screen in the closed state are these two little pins. And that means that any pressure that is exerted on top of this surface here when it's in a closed state, that pressure is going to be transferred directly on the screen of your device, the glass screen of your device, via these two very small pointy points. And that is going to break the screen over time. In order to illustrate the issue and see if the fix that I'm going to attempt to do here is going to indeed be a fix, I will need two blank pieces of paper and a blue paper or indigo paper, which is basically the one where you put some pressure on it, and the blue color will be reflected on anything that's underneath. All right, so I used the regular blue masking tape to simply affix in a precise way the A4 paper. So like this. All right, so now this is also fixed via the same masking tape down here to the side and to the side. So now both the paper and the blue paper or the indigo paper are affixed. And now I can commence with the marking test. All right, so that's 20 of those. And now I'm simply going to apply just a little bit of pressure, nothing severe, just something like this. Basically kind of going over it as if it was experiencing some pressure from, it being in a bag or something like that. All right, so let's open up and see what we get. Okay, let's see. And there we go. So this was like super mild, much milder than what I did before. And again, we have, especially this side here, was reflecting quite a lot. And as you can see, it's like main amount of pressure is here and a little bit of pressure down here. But the first point of contact is going to be that concentrated point of impact, which is actually directly on the glass screen. All right, so there's two ways that you can approach fixing the magnetic keyboard if you want to do it that way. First one is the one that I would suggest to try out first, and it is the non-destructive way. And it should be the simplest one, and it tackles the second issue as well. And the way to do it is to actually either use really thin silicone type of pads that you can just apply on it, or you can use something more akin to this type of a felt, very thin like of a thing. And this type of material, or let's say like something like this, would be pretty much ideal for that type of thing. It will give you the space, so it will work basically like a spacer, and it should basically solve the issue in a non-destructive way. So the first approach that I'm going to try is going to be the non-destructive one, and then I'm going to run a test and see if I get good results. If I do get good results, then I have no reason to use a destructive method. So what's the destructive method? Well, the destructive method would be to actually file these pins down ever so slightly until you no longer get this issue of them actually protruding on the top. This is a really small amount to take off, but it is still a destructive thing. Because it's so shallow and so small, my hope is that my first method, I'm going to combine these two things. And I've seen people kind of go like, yeah, you just put this here on a corner here, and another one on the corner there, another one on the corner there, and you're done, right? Well, not necessarily. And the problem is that this keyboard flexes. So while you may have contacts here, this part may flex and these guys may still come into contact with the screen. So my plan is to have these at the corners for main distance and anti-skid, and these, which are just felt tips, which would be kind of skiddy, I would put them right up here. So right behind each of these. So the idea here is that these would basically take the brunt and that they would basically provide a space between the screen and these guys, even if this starts to flex. So let's put the device back in. Okay, so first I'm going to do a test without the paper just to see what happens and what are we actually getting. And yeah, this seems to be working. So the first issue, it's no longer slipping around. This mod will definitely get the magnet thing almost completely non-working, but it completely eliminates the slide. All right, so problem number 2 is eliminated with this one, but as predicted, you can see how much flex actually I can have here. So I'm just going to show you here. You see how much flex there is? Let's add 2 on the sides as well. All right, so I'm going to use the same 2 little spacers here. So I'm going to place one over there. So let's try like this. There we go. All right, let's see what this does and if this helps with the flex. Yes, this definitely helps with flex. So now it's much less. All right, cool. Now we can try with the paper and see what we get. All right, fresh piece of paper. And now let's repeat the test. All right, so that's 20. Let's now put it like this and repeat the same kind of pressure thing. I already feel way less flex, so this could be promising. Would be cool if I didn't have to do any nail filing or anything like that. So let's open back, and would you look at that? No more points of impact there. So the only thing that was leaving a mark over here is this actual foil that I didn't remove from the trackpad. And in theory, you could add just another one of these small black ones right down here if it doesn't bother you, or maybe to the left and right, and that should create enough space that you don't get the impacts there. But this is really, really minimum. And also this is hitting on the frame, not on the screen itself, except for this part. This part is kind of hitting on the frame. But the most important part is that this thing, the concentrated points of impact from these two are eliminated this way. And it's a non-destructive mod, so yay. Okay, so the final thing looks like this, and I want to just try it out without any paper or anything like that. So this actually looks okay. It's not really that terrible. What I really like is that terrible slipperiness, that was really pissing me off as the second kind of a problem. That's actually completely gone because of these silicone little pads. The wake on and sleep, I think it still works. Let's see if it goes to sleep. Yep, sleep and wakes up. So the added distance isn't really causing a problem with that. And the magnets, yeah, the only real thing that doesn't work anymore are the magnets, but you do have that stupid little flap thing if you really want to kind of use it. But to be quite honest, that magnet didn't really work properly and didn't really close it that much in the first place. So it's not that the magnet doesn't work at all anymore. There is still some force, but it is weaker than what it was. However, the most important aspect here is that now we have a healthy spacer distance between the surface of the keyboard, the two affecting nibs, and the screen of your precious device. And this mod will be equally applicable on the magnetic keyboard cover for Tab XC as well, because it's the exact same cover in fact. So yeah, it applies to Note Max and Tab XC. Is it the prettiest mod ever? No, it's really not. Let's see if the full-on functionality still works. Yes, you can still slot it in. Nothing is really disturbed by it. The crucial aspect here is that you need these spacers on the corners that are anti-skid. So that part makes sure that the cover is not slippering around on the surface of the screen. But the ones that are also really important are actually these two here, right above the pins, so that they actually absorb the impact and create a distance between the screen and these pins. In my case, I used these because they were smaller and they occupied less space than what I had here. But if you have like these kind of small anti-slip type of silicone pads, then you could use the same type all over the place. And also, I think that these here on the sides are really important as well, because as you've seen, the keyboard has quite a bit of flex, and for the longevity, it would be a good idea to have something like that. Now, of course, there are far more elegant solutions than this. This is simply what I had immediately here in my box. If I was doing this for real, for my own purpose, I would actually use different types of materials, far more elegant, maybe thin stripes here along the length, just to be maybe like a 2 centimeter long and I don't know, 2-3 millimeters wide, and a similar kind of thing would be here and here, and that would be far more elegant of a solution than something like this. So it doesn't need to be ugly as it is now. It can be pretty and functional as well, if that's what you want to do. Now, one question for me remains: why wasn't this a part of the original design? This is a huge omission and a huge fail from Boox to actually not implement this in the design of their cover, which is not cheap, and it is a very important accessory for their flagship devices. It baffles the mind. To be honest, I really don't even feel these guys at all when I'm typing. And these on the sides, they're so nice and soft that I actually like them, and they help me understand where my pinky is while I'm just simply typing. So completely by accident, these two turned out to be quite a nice addition to this accessory. So in honesty, now that I know that this works as it should and that it won't damage the screen, suddenly it becomes an interesting proposition. I don't really prefer it over my keys to go from Logitech, and I think that it still adds way too much bulk and way too much weight and all that kind of stuff. But then again, you do get it like all in one as a package. So yeah, as soon as you kind of solve that issue, then yeah, you can actually start to consider using this as an accessory for your Note Max or your Tab XC. Well, there you go. So I was really hopeful that it would be possible to actually get away with a super simple and super cheap fix like that. And it's really nice to see that it actually works. And if you do own a Boox magnetic keyboard cover for your Note Max or Tab XC, I do encourage you strongly to apply a fix of this sort, albeit you can make it a lot nicer if you spend a little bit more time to actually find and create custom made or custom sized type of spacers and anti-skid plates. But the whole point is that, yeah, it can be done. It can be done very, very easily. There's no need to do any kind of destructive modification to the case at all. And with the exception of magnets holding the cover firmly with the front of the device, that's the only thing that you are going to lose. Yeah, everything else seems to have been improved quite dramatically. And then it transforms it into an actual usable accessory, which is something that it should have been from the get-go. So users are not supposed to be forced to think of solutions and do the modifications on a very expensive accessory for a flagship device from a company just because they didn't bother to actually finish the design properly. I hope that you found this video useful and that it can actually transform your Boox magnetic cover into something that you can now use without fear of it damaging your screen, or that it maybe emboldens you to actually go for the Boox magnetic keyboard cover if you own printer. Hush! It's always trolling me. I think there's one more. No? I guess we're good. And now I'm supposed to continue my train of thought. No idea what I was talking about. Oh yes, I believe it was that if you were on the fence to buy or not buy the Boox magnetic keyboard cover for your device, that I hope that this tip and this kind of a fix yeah, helps you make that decision with more confidence. Oh, you little. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel to get notified when new videos come out on my deep guide. You can also ding that bell in the description below. Leave a comment down below letting me know what your thoughts are and what are potential improvements that we can actually make on this mod to take it to a next level. And also do let me know in the comments down below if you would be interested to see a follow-up video where I take this concept and then kind of elevate it a step further with a more detailed kind of a guide of how to create which parts for which elements of the cover to create a full-on fixed design that's not gonna be so janky as this one is, since this was just like kind of slapped on. Because if people are interested in something like that, well, I might actually do that. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!